Hey beauties, good evening to you. So I saw the news clipping of because I missed today's budget presentation by the opposition leader. I wanted to hear it. To be honest with you, I wanted to hear what Mark Golding had to say. So I missed it. I'm going to watch. I'm going to I'm going to watch it online. But I want to pose a question to the Jamaica Labour Party, the parliamentarians. I mean, I'm talking the Prime Minister et al. Why did you guys walk out in during the presentation today? It's a genuine question. Why did you guys walk out? I couldn't understand for the life of me why you'd walk out. Let me tell you something. You see, one of the reasons why I don't like nepotism, because these things breed contempt in a sense. Now, what the statement and the supposed question that was subliminally asked by the opposition leader Mark Golding was a very salient one. It is something that people have been talking about. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be very, very, very honest with you. What's her name again? Marissa Dalrymple, Filbert. When I noticed that her situation was, it's almost like it became aggressive on the news. I said, why are they pushing this particular situation? And she would be, in my opinion, almost like the least of the apostles in regards to something that may be unseeming. It was a car that she said was not disclosed in her statutory declaration. And she said she forgot and whatnot. All right. I'm not saying that, ignorance of the law means that you don't pay for it. But I found it very, very odd that it kept coming up, being used against her until she got frustrated, resigned. Maybe she was forced to, told to, I have no clue. I found it very odd. I said, I'm not saying her case is not important, but it was not acute for me. It wasn't chronic. There are more serious situations. They have the 6 illicit enrichers that none of us are aware of. And I doubt that she's a part of it. Certainly after she demitted office, the wife of the Prime Minister became House Speaker. All right, here is where I blame the People's National Party. When, what's his name there? Opposition on Minister of Mining there. You know who I'm talking. Opposition leader, opposition spokesman. Gosh, why his name? And his situation was recently in the news about the loss of his daughter and the mother of his child. And he seconded the motion. I heard a response from the minister. I guess from Minister Mark Golding. I guess he had to give the best response by saying they were unaware. He was kind of put in the situation. It's the tradition of the opposition to accept the motion of whomever the government would nominate and put as House Speaker. I don't think I like that, but I suppose he was just put on the spot by the media, so he had to give the best answer he could. I guess they were wrong because they really should have challenged it from then on, because that is clear-cut nepotism. It is as clear, worse, it's a husband and a wife situation. And with that being said, naturally when the statement was made by the opposition leader that people are not pleased by the fact that she's a House Speaker, she's like the umpire to the match, while her husband is the Prime Minister, it is a conflict of interest. It should be somebody, an independent person, which by any standard, in any group, in any sphere, in any atmosphere, that is something that is accepted. That's a universally accepted sort of principle. That's a universal accepted sort of standard. Basic standard operating procedure. You don't put your wife, your spouse especially, or your child, your aunt, your uncle in such a position while the other party is the leader of the country. That is, I can't say it is unlawful. I don't really want to say it, but it borders on ethics. It would want to border on almost being unethical. It would want to border on it. That cannot be right. So I was trying to fathom, and I noticed when the Prime Minister was speaking, he said that is low and desperate. It's not a matter of law and desperate. It's something that people are talking about. People have a problem with it, sir, and others. You guys should not have walked out. But I guess that's the unfair gameplay more than once. I remember last year during a particular budget presentation when Angela Brownbrook was speaking and she was sort of shut down, she said, and she realized it was continuing, they had ended up walking out shortly after on the opposition side. I think it was only, what's his name? Well, I can never remember his name. You know who I'm talking, and his daughter was murdered by the allegedly by Leoda Bradshaw, his daughter and the mother of his child. I don't know why his name not coming to me right now. And he and somebody else had remained. They never left. Maybe because I'm a long time politician, I probably never offended him that much and so on. But I remember last year when they had walked out during a particular presentation. I don't remember who was speaking at the time. If it was I think it was a whole Massa Mark situation, or when it was something with Angela Brownbrook, one of the two situations. And I guess shortly after they had got fed up and had walked out. But in this case, since Mr. Clark, Minister of Finance, had spoken for about 4 hours non-stop from he came on about 2:30, and it's about minutes to 6 before he had finished with that very broad and wide. You can literally, if you fling some stones and so you can't find it. Very broad presentation. Then this particular speaker was trying to give his own presentation. Sit and listen to the end. Unless he was definitively accusing you guys and saying something. He's talking about things that people are talking about. It is obvious, because had you been in opposition and he was the prime minister and his wife was the speaker of the house, it would have been problematic. You guys would have, Lord, who know that lick them left, right, and center. Come on. So I'm trying to figure out why walk out. You should have stayed. He was very careful in how he spoke. He said that it does not look good. It is not for good governance. It is something that people are talking about. It's not just the leader of the opposition. He has to speak about the whole Integrity Commission. He said that he was going to come up with the whole the whole statutory declaration. It has not been certified in terms of the Prime Minister, and other areas. I'm wondering if he got an opportunity to speak about public sector workers, which I'm talking about, whether civil servants or other, in terms of the salaries that they're presently getting. I wondered if he got the opportunity to speak about the fact that the Jamaica Civil Service Association president there, T-Shard, I can't remember her last name, said she has been trying to get through to the Ministry of Finance so that they can basically give the back monies on passenger mileage, restoring mileage, whatever other back monies on salaries that should be given beginning from 2022-2023 period, and then the other periods thereafter for the civil servants. I don't know if he got an opportunity, because I know he would definitely address that as a well-learned man, a well-read man, a knowledgeable man. Why did you guys walk out? Because I listened keenly on what he said. I was listening for him to say something very derogatory or clear-cut offensive in a wrong way. Because being offended doesn't mean that the person is wrong, Jesus offended a whole heap of the Pharisees and the Sadducees, but he was not wrong. So I was listening for something that may have been way off, and I could not figure it out. I said, let me go online and listen, but the news brought that clip in. I'm going to listen to the whole presentation. It seemed very, very, very strange that it was short. So because of the fact that because you guys are in government and you walked out, it cut short his presentation. That's unfair. Because he had to sit through and listen to. But as I said, unfair gameplay more than once. But it comes off bad, because they say to whom much is given, much is required. Much is expected. You are the government. You are the head. So the tail can wag its tail a little bit. So even if them walk out and say, no, but you are the one leading. You are saying, watch my example. Watch and follow me. And you probably took it offensive because you felt as though they hit against your wife. That is why you see why I don't like nepotism. Because had it been somebody else, you may not have walked out. But because it's your wife, now it becomes personal. These are the things why we don't like nepotism. Because it's going to border on leaving professional, going into the personal. The man had a presentation. He had a right to present whatever it is, his counteracting viewpoints to the people. Disappointed government. I'm very much disappointed. Guys, Follow me on TikTok, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please share this message.